Well, hello, Carlos. Hello, my friend. This is your brother from another mother, Norman, down in West Central Florida. It is Saturday, July the 15th, I think. July the 15th. And it is about 3:30 in the afternoon. Sorry for the light traffic. I'm just starting my run near the house, and I begin at a complex called Logarito Apartments, and I use the two parking lots to make a bit of a loop before I hit Whisper Cove and then roundabout New York Avenue. But anyway, I am offering a submission to you for your new show. I believe you had asked for 5 minutes of raw audio, and thus I felt obliged to give you such. Most especially in lieu of the fact that my podcasting is now seemingly far and few between. I've lost a lot of the gumption to talk and increased my desire to listen. And so I listen on my iToy to spiritual matters on my runs. And it really does enhance the run. And it enhances my life. And so that's kind of where I am now. But I believe you know this already. Anyway, I do follow you. I do watch you. And as you know, we play Lexilus against one another. So you are very much still in my heart and mind, thoughts and prayers. I don't see a lot of the other kids on Facebook, but maybe it's because I don't think I'm on Facebook that as much as I used to be anymore. I don't see a lot of Kevin. I know he's down here visiting in Florida. I don't see a lot of Steve Hailstone. I see mostly you and JD. Maybe because we interact on the Friends of the Seeker podcast Facebook page. And speaking of JD, I know that he's doing well and running back in fine form after his scholastic career, and got a text or two from him today cementing the sentimentation of our friendship. So, in any event, I know I haven't covered a succinct topic, nor any trail of logic, which is still my form, to be a bit confused. But I'm looking at 5 minutes and 20 seconds on my watch, so I will stop abruptly and send this to you via messaging and or email so that you can include it in your show and hope that it adds at least some value.
Oh, dear. Not supposed to say that loudly as that. Nobody can be loud. Loud voice. Oh.
Yeah. Well, you were quiet for a little while there, and then you started to make your familiar little "oh dear." Oh dear, what can the matter be? Johnny's too long at the fair.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how it goes. So, September the 10th, 2016. Do you have anything to report to your thousands of friends all over the world? No?
Not really, no.
Not really. We're talking to you from the 8th floor, isn't it, of the Jubilee Hospital?
Yeah. Forgotten which floor, but I know they told me it was top there.
Yep, it's definitely the top floor, and there was a guy out on the elevator who unfortunately had lost his foot. It was missing. Well, hopefully they'll fit him up with a prosthetic foot, a fake foot. But
they don't have to do that with me.
No, they wouldn't do that with you, Mavis, because, you know, there is a chance they can get you walking again.
Yeah, hope so.
That's the idea.
I seem to getting less and less with my foot down.
Well, that's going to be when I have to help you again, when it's a matter of getting your strength back in the leg, because when you lie in bed for 2 or 3 days, you lose all the strength in your legs.
Yeah.
So now even if you wanted to stand up, you probably couldn't.
No, I find it kind of stand up because it gets me on the edge of the bed and then
they
stand
transfer
up,
you?
But,
And you've got a wheelchair there, you've got a walker.
Well, they haven't found a wheelchair yet. At least they hadn't the last time I was going to inquire. But they had one, didn't they?
Well, they have it all ready for you there, but it's just a matter of you can't get into the wheelchair by yourself. You'd have to ask them to help you. And they would say, Mavis, why do you want to go anywhere? Until you've had your surgery, they're not really going to move you around too much. They want you to stay nice and flat for a while.
I guess so.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I'm going to head back pretty soon, but I'll remember to tell Noni or ask her if she can find you a radio, something that you can listen to.
Really good idea.
And good luck on Monday with the surgery. I hope they manage to put a stent in there so you get more blood flow in your leg.
Yes, it's amazing. They already had two things on it, and now I'm going to have a third thing.
Don't pick at your nose, Mavis.
I see little potters on there at the corner. They pop out every hour.
They're going to pop out from the corner and say, stop picking your nose. It's not picking your nose, it's picking at your scab.
Yeah.
On your nose. Yeah. Anyway. I'm going to give you a kiss and...
You came all that way to see me.
I came all that way also to bring you the news that Elizabeth and Alan are going to be coming this afternoon to see you.
Okay.
So hopefully that will go nicely, and they'll be able to fill you in on all the eventualities at the church. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell Noni about the radio, and you can expect Alan and Elizabeth this afternoon.
Okay.
And if you did want to read, where can you reach? If I put it on your hip there, can you can reach it there. All right. Did you want a little bit of water? I have some water here for you.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I could raise the head of your bed a little bit as well.
Okay. Oh.
Here. Now you've got a table for your book.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ah.
So we're thinking about you. Do you want me to lower your head or leave it up like that?
You alright like this?
Okay. Bye-bye then.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much for coming.
Hi, this is Krister from Sweden. I was asked to read something that inspires me, and I thought about different inspiring texts, but this time I think I'll share just one line from a song. I have the words written on a picture on the wall beside my bed. The words are from a Swedish song that meant a lot to me when I was young, and it still does. The song was written after the composer had read Thomas Merton's autobiography, Elected Silence. Apparently, the book made an impact on the songwriter, as he wrote a great song that made an impact on me. The one line that I have on the framed picture says, "Anyway, who do you want to be?" As I understand it, the question was of great importance for Thomas Merton's way through life. When I see the question and somehow try to answer it to myself, I hope it leads me towards being a better person. At least I get a reminder to strive towards who I want to be. I'm not sure that I really know who I want to be, but the question helps me to reach towards a meaningful life. On the couch watching the TV, I can ask myself, is this who I want to be? And to be honest, sometimes it is exactly who I want to be that moment. Other times it is not who I want to be, and I then get a good reason to turn the TV off and go and do something useful. I know I want to be professional at what I do at work. That means I need to be well educated and learn about the ongoing projects I'm involved in. I know I want to be someone that runs a challenging race each fall. That means I need to train properly to be able to do that. So, seeing the question, "Anyway, who do you want to be?" inspires me to strive towards the goals I give myself. There are circumstances in life that we can't control, and there is nothing we can do about that, but my belief is that this question can help me deal with how I react to what's happening around me, and hopefully be who I want to be even in a difficult situation. To me, these few words are inspiring and helpful. Anyway, who do you want to be?
I got an email from one of the car dealerships saying that they have because the Scrap It program, their incentives were gone for 2017. So I could get one from the government, but not from Scrap It. But these guys say they have one Scrap It, which plus the provincial thing is $11,000.
What do you mean, one Scrap It thing?
Well, the Scrap It program, you have to give them your car and they destroy it or recycle it or whatever. Not the car dealer, the Scrap It program, but it's the dealers that hold those incentives so that they make sure that you're meeting the requirements of handing in an old car that's, I think it has to be 2000, 2007, which is ours, is definitely eligible for taking it off the road.
Mm-hmm.
And they give you money to take it off the road. But they give you more money if you take it off the road and buy an electric vehicle. They give you $6,000.
Wow.
And the government gives you $5,000 for buying an electric vehicle. So what had happened was that they have 1,800 or 1,200 or something of them a year, and they'd all gone by the time I started thinking buy an electric vehicle. So I was going to wait to 2018 when the new crop comes in. But when I look at, what they're telling me I should be fixing on my car, it's like, I don't know how much I would need to spend to keep it going to 2018. Anyway, I've been trying to decide between the Chevy Volt and the Chevy Bolt. And the Volt...
The Chevy Volt and the Chevy Bolt?
Yeah, the Bolt, and if it was Spanish, they'd both sound the same. The Chevy Bolt. Anyway, the Bolt is totally electric. But there would still be a problem, even though I think it's 283 miles that it can do on a charge. It still might be a problem to get to Carlos's and back. Whereas what the Volt does, it has a smaller all-electric range, and then it uses the gasoline engine to charge the electric and gives you a much larger range.
But is the gasoline engine actually connected to the gears and the wheels, or just to the generator?
I think it's just to the generator.
Okay.
Because...
so the drive would still be electric, but
yeah.
you'd be topping up the battery from the generator.
And it wildly increases the range from, I think it's 50 or 60 without, with just by itself, with what's in the battery, and 400 and something if you use the gas tank. And it uses...
And that would be a full tank of gas to run the generator?
Regular gas, yeah.
Okay.
But
But if you were running short on electricity and you were almost home, you could just switch back to the... does it switch automatically? Or?
You can put it on one where it switches. It decides.
Okay. That's a bit like the Prius is like that.
And you can also... There's a paddle on the thing where you can have regenerative braking so that the braking charges the battery as well.
Oh, that's great.
So for short trips, which is... I honestly forget if it's 50k or 50 miles, but it would make very little difference. For all the short trips, I would be on electric anyway. And this would allow me to do the long trips without being anxious about having to find a charging station.
You might find more and more as the years...
There are going to be more and more. But
especially probably in Vancouver more than in...
I know, but I don't go to Vancouver. I'm talking about going to Kirkland. That's my other...
Yeah, but you'd go through Vancouver, basically, to the ferry.
You go through to Tawasin.
Okay, so then you take the White Rock.
Exactly, and just go creep along there, and it's 30k to the border.
So you're going via the farmland and all the rest of it, and the native reserve.
Yeah.
And what's that place in the
Blaine
States?
Is where you're headed for.
Blaine, that's right.
So
Point Roberts is
I
along
keep
there
going
as well.
back and forth between the two. I mean, when they do get... I can find a map that shows all the charging stations, and there are plenty of them, but it doesn't charge in, like, depending on whether they have the high-capacity charge. If they have that, you can charge quite effectively. But if you're just plugging in from the house current...
It takes 10 hours or something.
Exactly, to fully charge.
Yeah, which is fine overnight, but if you're in the middle of a journey, you don't want to have to stop for 10 hours to recharge.
No, I mean, and if you could stop for 2 hours, you could go and have a meal and whatever, but even then, it would be dictating what you do, right?
Yeah.
Like...
Well, a lot of the people I see now at the rec center, they drive to the rec center and they plug in while they're doing their workout.
Yeah, and you see, and that's all free around here.
Is it free?
Yeah.
Okay. Good incentive.
Yeah. So I'm thinking of going with the Volt until they've, got more infrastructure in place. Well, if I can get the 11,000 off, that would be
A major
great.
incentive.
Yeah. What would make it absolutely perfect is if he had a Bolt, and I could get the 11,000. But the Bolts are almost like once I decided, I should get a bolt, I couldn't find one to buy.
Anyway, good luck with that.
Although they are coming. Well, I want you to come when I go for the test drive.
Okay.
Hey, this is Suzanne with my 5 minutes, calling in from Lexington, Kentucky. I'm on a walk with my very favorite Schnauzer, Travis McGee. He doesn't have anything to say today. I tried, but that's the way it is with Schnauzers. Sometimes they feel like talking, sometimes they don't. Today, I'd like to share something with you that I find very comforting, almost as much this year as I approach a birthday that's at the end of an age group, as opposed to one of those milestone birthdays that start a new age group. A dear high school friend of mine from Florence, Alabama, sent this to me for my big 5-0 almost 19 years ago. He died about 18 months later. He was rode hard and put up wet too many times. I read this regularly and weep a little for the beautiful soul that wrote it. His name was Travis, too. I didn't name my dog after him, but I think Travis Hardison would have found it amusing. Anyway, birthdays rumor. Word has it that you're suddenly thinking you couldn't possibly be eligible for the $8 dues to AARP since you're not one of those electric scooting, riding, white-haired granny types, and thinking maybe you don't want to have something in your mailbox once a month that's called modern maturity, when under it all you're not sure that you are. If you haven't heard from them yet, you will. Trust me on this. But half a century is a matter of endurance as much as bookkeeping, and now that the Reaper is that much closer, you need fear him less, since you can see that he's not as fearsome as he was when you were half the age that you are now. You can still plan things. You can pick up a thick book or a new hobby, but you're probably not going to find yourself tied to a 30-year mortgage, and chances are you no longer feel the need to prove things to yourself, like skydiving or swimming naked with sharks. Of course, it may mean something to you that you're now less likely to break a leg skiing and more likely to break a hip falling out of bed. And I won't even remind you that gravity increases by 3% a year from here on out, which is a nasty trick when you realize that the anchors that tie your skin to your bones also decrease by the same 3%. But there are benefits that you've probably noticed. The hormones that raged in your 20s and make you behave like a carnival rucker on bad crack may have subsided somewhat, so that you no longer chase down those bad boys for the pleasure of the kill. Your brain now provides you with an off switch instead of two versions of faster really faster. Monday mornings come with fewer weekend regrets. Happy hour means that time of day when you can kick off your shoes and put your feet up. Weekends, as you've noticed, become less devoted to a continuous party and more for intermittent naps. Anyway, my dear, congratulations on surviving the game this far, and congratulations for bearing up under the trip as well as you have, inside and out. There's a few signs of change that mark the passage of time here and there around the edges, but there's also quite a bit of the 18-year-old still there. Hold on to her, but enjoy the 50-year-old that the calendar has given you. You've earned her fairly, and it's a nice piece of work that you can take pride in. It's a nice mix. You're okay. Happy birthday, girl, and many more. Your slightly older friend in Nashville. And to all of you that are approaching a milestone birthday, I wish this for you. Yeah, there's the 18-year-old in there, but enjoy the person you are now.
Hello everybody, this is Ellen from the Berkshires of Massachusetts. We live in a nice little area that is part of the Appalachian Mountain Range, so we have a lot of summer visitors who are hiking the Appalachian Trail, so I get to meet some pretty interesting people along the way. And I'm going to talk about some of my interests. My first interest is certainly raising kids, which I seem to have more than most people share of. The majority of my 11 adopted kids are special needs from around the world, and we adopted them specifically because they weren't primetime family kids. So I have a lot of tasks that I do every day with my kids, and that's certainly a priority. But probably my second priority in life is health, and I kind of got unhealthy for a while. When I fell by the wayside, I created this organization where I went around the world to third world countries and identified kids who needed medical care and would die without it. And then I proceeded to bring them to the United States for free medical care donated by doctors and hospitals from all over the United States. And in that process, I would host families, or I would host them. And sometimes we would shuffle them around the states. And it was quite a fiasco. It was very rewarding, and it made a difference to kids who ordinarily or otherwise would die. So it was very rewarding. And I did that for years, but while doing that, I sort of forgot about me. So about a year and a half ago, I decided that I needed to think about me, and I started back on my health journey. I have somewhat of an education or background in health, and I've worked in fitness centers for a while. So I lost 105 pounds. I've reduced my body fat, and I did the majority of it by running. So I'm not a very good runner. I don't feel like I'm a very accomplished runner, but I am pretty consistent. I prefer trails over roads, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Number one, the obvious, roads are hard, trails aren't as hard. But I think road runners zone out, and they run and they just clear their mind, and they kind of get in this state of some sort of like transcendental, I don't know, they just zone out. And I'm not good at that. I don't like yoga because of that. And I live in the yoga capital of the world. We have Kripala, Earthy Crunchy Yoga Center right in my town. But that's just not my thing. I really like to stay astute and really keen and tune in and focus. And trail running requires you to do that. You have to really interact with your environment. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why I run trails. The second reason is it allows me to kind of practice and show off or showcase my athleticism. And I am pretty athletic, especially for an old lady. I'm going to be 60 the end of this year. And I practice a lot. I do a lot of power, a lot of plyometrics, because I do have a lot of power. What I don't have is endurance. And so I feel like I really need to play to my strengths, and trail running does. I'm still not fast. I still don't last for a long time, but I enjoy it a lot more. And I also think it's some running in an environment that you really do have to stay unplugged. So that's a little bit about me. I'm a boxer. I took boxing lessons since I was 5 years old. I really would like to stay more on top of that. I think it's a good all-around health, but I'm not on top of it. I don't like water. I don't like swimming. I'm not a very good swimmer. I never have been. I don't mind winter as long as I can stay active. I don't mind the heat. So I'm glad and fortunate to live in a place where we have the 4 seasons. I have lived other places without them, and I missed my mountains and my winters. I'm an ex-cop. I'll always be a cop in my head. I quit when I had kids. I used to ride motorcycles my whole life, raced them for a while. So that's 5 minutes of me.